Hi, good afternoon, Moslek and Shah. Hope you're both well. Welcome.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Now, I know that UKCC during this period of time has actually made some really good progress in terms of developing and getting, obviously, your voice heard, where probably in the political circles where it really matters. Now, Shah, if I'm correct, you actually attended a meeting with the Labour Party leader a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's correct. We had a meeting with Sir Keir Starmer, Annalise Dodds as well, Shadow Chancellor, as well as a number of other MPs as well.
And what was the meeting on? What was the meeting on?
It's more about the government's COVID response and how small businesses, particularly in the BAME sector, are experiencing the government support, whether it's easy, whether anything more can be done.
And in some ways, number one, congratulations getting into that kind of dialogue. It does show how far you've come in a relatively short period of time, doesn't it? Because your voice is getting heard.
We have been relatively quite lucky, but we've also been rewarded for our hard work that we've been grafting away. We've been pushing and knocking on all the doors. We've been working with the Federation of Small Businesses. We've been working with all party parliamentary groups for BAME businesses as well. And that sort of resulted in us being asked to attend a lot of these meetings and provide data from our members. We've actually got asking a lot of questions, providing questionnaires to various members, not just locally, but across the country. And we've been compiling data, and hopefully not too long we'll be compiling a report that will be presented to government as well.
Oh, congratulations. Moslek, bring you in at this point. Do you want to explain UKCC to those who don't know?
So UKCC started 2016, basically from 2012 onwards, where I've struggled to find a qualified chef, a chef with the experience. Not that there isn't any chefs out there, there are plenty of chefs out there, but everybody's kind of involved with a business or they're already in a job. So it was very difficult to find somebody highly qualified. When we started looking deeper into it, we realized that there wasn't any more newcomers into the industry, which from Asian background, whether it's English background, the whole hospitality sector was suffering from new people coming into the industry. Younger people were not interested in working in the hospitality sector. So we started working with other organizations, with FSB and Craft Guild of Chefs, and we're trying to come up with a way how we can attract younger people back to our industry. And also there was a big issue regards, especially the Asian hospitality sector was suffering from the hostile kind of immigration laws that have come in, which wasn't allowing people in from outside the UK to work into our industry. So that was making it totally impossible to run a business. And a lot of people I've known have gone out of business because they were just so frustrated not being able to find the qualified staff they require to run a business.
It has been obviously quite difficult. But maybe the first real high point for your story was obviously the World Cup, wasn't it? Culinary World Cup, where it's obviously one of those lovely stories, isn't it? That's when you took a very inexperienced team, I think it's fair to say, or I'm sure you're defining it slightly different, over to Luxembourg to compete and came away with a gold medal and a number of silvers. Do you want to tell that story? Because it lies at the heart of everything you're about.
Yeah, this was something that, you know, as we were working with Central Bedfordshire College, Raj Mandal, who is one of their tutors there, he suggested that, you know, to encourage younger generation, we need to tell our story as in a wider sense, how brilliant this industry is and, you know, how competitive it is and how you can be recognized. And he said, let's take a team to the Culinary World Cup. And I said, you know, at the beginning, I didn't even have a clue where we'd start with that. He said, well, let me deal with the entries and everything else while you deal with trying to find the finance and possibly look for highly skilled chefs that we can take. So the chefs we've taken, it would be unfair to say that they weren't highly skilled, but they weren't recognized. They weren't big names. They weren't people who have competed in the past. but they did have the
You took
talent.
students as well, didn't you?
We took students as well, yeah. We took a team of students, a team of skilled chefs, and a team of mentors. Now, the mentors are the only people who had the experience of previously competing. So they were able to advise the chefs and the student chefs how to go about and how to, compete. So basically, the mentors were very, very good.
And the team came from a whole range of different countries, didn't it?
That's right. The team background was from all over. I mean, we had
about seven or eight different countries, all combined. All complete strangers, and we're there holding them together, working together. And I think by the end of the week, when we were presented with quite nicely 3 silver medals and 1 gold medal all in one go, I think we had quite a good rapturous applause from the arena in the World Cup, which made us feel very, very special and put all of us on a very emotional high.
Yeah, because actually that's the lovely thing about UKCC, isn't it? Because it isn't just about curry. It is about something far deeper. It is about diversity in its true sense. And it's about a real breadth of actually trying to encourage culinary skills across all countries, isn't it?
I think we wanted to give a lot of our students and chefs the possibility of broadening their horizons, giving them an experience that, one, they've never had before, two, to excite them about the industry, give them a bit more passion as to what can be done within the industry. And the best way to do that is show them the best in the world on the world stage.
And what's been lovely about, because obviously I've worked with you alongside you now for a number of months, what's lovely about you is actually you really genuinely believe this, don't you? Because you're often the outsiders making your name. That's why it was great that you got invited to the Labour Party meeting. Because it's been quite a journey for you both, hasn't it? Because you put your own money on the line often on this.
Yeah, it's mostly been funded, like I say, up to now. A small sponsorship from a few of the takeaway members, restaurants across the country. But these are like a couple of £100 sponsorship. Our biggest investment has been from our own pockets, going to the World Cup, and we're still paid for it up to this day. But we have made a lot of stride. One of the things that have really started us off was a solution. We have a proposal which is a complete solution for the government to see that there is a possibility of helping the industry survive, making the industry even better, and bringing in younger generation, because that's one of the drive that has never existed. The whole hospitality sector, as we got more involved, we realized it's not just the Asian or the Indian curry sector that was suffering. We realized that it's in the whole of the hospitality sector. So we need to actually collaborate and work with other organizations like the Craft Guild, hopefully with the UK Hospitality and others, to bring in and find a drive to bring more people into our industry. Our industry will require a lot of, new people coming into the industry.
And how do you feel now? As we come out of lockdown, do you feel positive about what we can achieve, or do you feel it's an even bigger uphill task?
I think at the beginning we were totally on like I say, as the lockdown. I think the last meeting, even with yourself, I think we were at the Fair Tip Share. Is it? Yeah. We were at that, and then a week later we got basically went on lockdown. We thought that was going to be very difficult. But as time progressed, I think the challenges made us work even harder. We were involved, I was one of the panelists of the APPG, which is the all-party parliamentary group for BAME businesses. And from that, we've been very busy with compiling the report for that. So the report has near enough completed, with FSB doing a separate report with the facts and figures as well, and that will be submitted to the government possibly just after they've come back from the summer recess. So that's been keeping us busy. And on top of that, I think there's a lot of issues there was a lot of members or a lot of people who follow us on Facebook, on our social media, and there was a lot of questions regards the government's instructions weren't very clear, so they had to be interpreted, and that was very difficult for trying to find the interpretation of how to make it easier, especially somebody who doesn't speak very good English. That became very difficult for them. That's been there's been a lot of with FSP. We were at a couple of their seminars or webinars, whatever you want to call them, regards to trying to help small businesses reopen again, advising them, helping them through with it. And it has been difficult, but I think we've made a lot of progress on it. We've been able to make a lot of progress. I've just had an email today. The Home Office want to possibly have a meeting on regards to how the next years, when the borders are under new immigration laws, how that would work and how we as an outsider see it. So that will be a very interesting conversation, I think.
I think it will be. And your aspirations now, what do you hope you're going to achieve? What is the goal for UKCC?
From the campaign or from what we're doing?
Both the campaign and what you want to achieve overall.
What we want to achieve is see our hospitality sector prosper and do what it was. I mean, the best years of me being in the catering industry has been from, I would say, from the 90s to the 2000s, and then it started kind of coming downwards. Those were the best years where I really enjoyed, because there was fresh people coming in, there was really great talent, and some of the chefs that I've helped train have been amazing. It's really good to work with somebody who wants to work and wants to learn. If we can find that pool, and if we can help bring that pool back into it, I think that would be something. Because Chris, the reason I'm involved, I mean, I could retire in another 5-10 years time, and I don't want to give up something I'm passionate about. I want to pass on what we've learned, what we can help people with. And that's one of the things. And I think there's a whole group of chefs who have come forward recently and joined us, who would love to be able to do that, because knowing that they've only got a few more years left, but they can help and leave their signatures behind for somebody else to follow them.
You're making it sound all very old, Moslek.
Sorry?
You're making us all sound very old. You're still quite a young man. You've got a long way to go yet.
I think what does excite us is actually working with the younger generation and the new generation.
I can see that.
We've got competitions lined up with working alongside the Craft Guild, but from junior level to under 25s, and even other experienced chefs that want to come in on board. And we've got other organizations, associations that are actually now knocking on our door, wanting to have meetings with us, which is quite pleasant for us, because normally we're the ones trying to do all the running around and knocking on all the doors. Now, I think with all the hard work, it sort of paid off a little bit, and now people are now coming to us.
I mean, I think that is one of the lovely things about the story, is that you really have invested in young people and given them a chance more than others have at times, relatively. It's all relative. Because even when you wanted to go and compete in the Olympics this year, didn't you? Earlier this year, you wanted to go and compete in the Culinary Olympics, but you wanted to take quite a number of students along to something like that, which would have been quite a task for people.
This would have been really lovely if we were able to, but our plan is to go to the next World Cup, and this time what we want to do is take possibly a couple of students from each different college and universities. Again, I think we've got to start early on trying to raise the funds that we're going to need, and even these competitions where we find these young students, that actually encourages them to even work harder and do better, and they're competing against each other. If they don't make it in our team, doesn't mean they're not good chefs. They are still very good chefs. It's just that it's that transition, it's that learning process, it's that competing, wanting to compete at high levels. That's what we want to create. The craving for that is what we want to create. The buzz for it, what we want to create.
I think a couple of the students as well, they've gone on to work for quite large hotels now as well, which is quite good.
Yeah, it's lovely to see, isn't it? It's really lovely to see. Now, in terms of your political dialogue you're having with politicians and in the political circles, you must feel encouraged that people begin to listen, that governments begin to listen.
I think they are beginning to take notice. In particular, the shadow cabinet, if you like, they were particularly quite receptive as to what the general public are saying. So they are looking at how people are being affected, and we've been trying to accumulate all the data and relay that on. And so far, it's been pretty good.
Now, the other part of UKCC is all the charitable work you get involved in, isn't it? And good causes, both on plastics, but also the homeless as well. Do you want to say a bit about that?
I'll let Moslek do this one.
Yeah, we've been involved with, obviously charities we've been involved long before UK Curry Connect, but it's more now that as UK Curry Connect, we've been able to connect people from across the country to get involved in the charity work we do. So Naseem, who is solely kind of involved with all the charitable work, who actually manages all that, unfortunately can't be here. He's on another meeting, Green, Bristol, well, Southwest Green meeting. He has been leading the Feed the Homeless. He started off with the Feed the Homeless in Bristol, which have done very, very well. And now started with, since he's been involved with Feed the Homeless, he's realized the plastic and the issues that the plastic was, single-use plastic was creating within, you know, our environment, our oceans. And that has led us to kind of work with, again, nationally hold curry and conversation across the country. Mostly up to now, it finished off in the Southwest, but we were going to go further. We had bookings in Portsmouth, we had a booking in Birmingham, and we actually weren't able to do that because of the lockdown, obviously. The last one we held was in Swindon, which was just a week, I think it was the 2nd of March, a couple of weeks before the lockdown. And hopefully once that is over, we're going to carry on with that, with the Curry and Conversation. But when we went into the lockdown, we realized there was a need to help the local community, people who were unable to go out, people who were isolated, helping the a lot of the shelters where people were having, you know, required the food. And we only did what we're expert at. We're able to cook a meal and provide a meal, and that's what we're good at. And that's all we've done. With the NHS, we've done over 2,500 meals at different hospitals on a different day, but we didn't just turn up with a meal. We actually coordinated with the hospitals, and they have asked us how many meals they could do with, because the staff were doing overtime and they could really do with it, you know, giving them a meal. So we've managed to do just over 2,500 meals across from Weston-super-Mare, Bristol, Salisbury, where else was it? Yeah, Bristol, Weston-super-Mare and Salisbury, and Oxford. So we've done quite a few
And Birmingham.
with that. And Birmingham, yeah.
That's very good.
We've also been lucky. Yeah, we've also been lucky that we've been working with the high sheriffs of each region.
Yep.
So we've actually gone out and recognised each of the volunteers and businesses that have donated. They weren't expecting anything, but as a token of appreciation, we've got the high sheriffs of each region to endorse a nice certificate, and they're being presented to each little business and volunteer. And that's gone down very, very well as well.
Oh, that's very good. Well done. Well done. And you've done a lot of work on the homeless. You've done a lot of work on plastics. As we come out, so obviously you're doing a lot of work with the young to encourage the young. Is there going to be a particular focus? Because actually one of the other things I know we were talking before lockdown was doing a competition as well for the young students, weren't you, around the country as well? Is that something still very much on the cards?
Yes, we definitely want to do that. especially with the young students. And I missed a little what you asked about the homeless earlier on.
Well, you've done a lot of work with the homeless as well, haven't you?
That's right, yeah.
Which has won quite a lot of accolades, if I'm correct.
Yes,
we've won multiple awards. Sorry, we've won quite a few awards with regards to the community effort. But it's also one of the things that we take pride in with the charitable stuff is the youth engagement. We get a lot of youth on board, because at the end of the day, they are the future and they will help drive.
So what set you off? What was the motivator to set you off? I appreciate why you want to do it. I get that. And I understand what you've achieved, which actually you've been punching way above your weight. And I mean that in the most complimentary way. You've actually been achieving great things. I just don't think people recognize enough. So many congratulations on doing that. But what's been your drive? Because I know how much work you're putting into this. What has been your driver? What's made you do this?
The more you get involved in charity, I mean, charity work, like I've said, I've been doing it all my life. I support various charities from children with leukemia. I mean, I've had endorsements from people like Frank Bruno, who sent me, their signed photographs, and various other, Anton Deck, naming a few,
It's quite a different Bruno. Frank Bruno, Anton Deck can be more difficult if you do.
yeah, two different type. But we've had quite a, I mean, like I say, that I've been doing that because personally I enjoyed doing it. But we never actually thought of how much problems we had here close to home. So when we're talking about feeding somebody who's homeless, it's usually somewhere on the other side of the world, somebody that we know through charities, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Bangladesh, Asia, we were helping those type of people, but not realizing that the problem here was getting, and it was accidentally that Nassim came across and he said, you know what, we need to support, because charity begins at home. And when you start looking into something like that, and it starts, now there are plenty of organizations, which is great. When we started, the numbers were very small, as in charities supporting the homeless people. Now there are very, very, it's having a very good effect. A lot of people are coming forward, and a lot of people, and it has had a lot of newspapers and everything have been writing about it, of the homeless people within the country. So it's been getting a lot of support now. With the plastic, again, it's something that I got pushed in by my children, who are very much passionate about the environment, which is a great thing. They come back from school and they learn these things. And it's something that the deeper we start thinking, because originally, I mean, we were using foil containers. Foil containers became plastic, and we thought that was brilliant. It's leak-proof, on a takeaway, it's brilliant. But not realizing the effect it would do. Going back 10, 12 years down the line, now I'm thinking, how do I get rid of it? What do I move on to? What can I use again, And we've been trying other different methods, like the tiffin, which unfortunately, it was, people really loved the idea, but not a lot of people are taking it on, which is unfortunate, because that would have been an ideal solution for this.
Do people understand the concept? Do people understand the concept well enough?
People do understand the concept, yes. They do understand the concept, because on the BBC, I think we got 3.5 million views on it. And the comments were amazing comments. There wasn't hardly any negative, if you know what I mean. Usually these kind of things carry a lot of negative comments, but it was all positive comments on there. And 3.5 million views is a lot of views for that was only for their online. I mean, they put it on mainstream BBC, which was lunchtime, I think BBC News, they held it on that. They had it on BBC Southwest, which was originally, the program was based for BBC Southwest, which they reckon gets about 250,000 views is an average but they were surprised, even the BBC was surprised to get 3.5 million views on that. So it shows there is interest. There is a lot of people who are concerned about it. Now, what can be done? It's like I say, a lot of the work, a lot of the grassroots work requires a lot of funding, and that's the part where we are stuck, where we can do a lot if there was funding available, which becomes the biggest part.
I mean, obviously, that's the challenge.
That's the
Because
biggest challenge.
you have achieved a lot already. BBC, getting 3.5 million views is pretty impressive. Getting involved in the Labour Party meetings is pretty impressive. You come along with the gold medal at the World Cup. It's very impressive. You've come a long way in a very short period of time. It is now how you can get support, isn't it? It is how you can actually garner support from industry.
Yes, if we can have some support from the industry and work along with various other organizations, like I've said, Craft Guilds we're working very closely with, and other organizations, I think we can actually together solve a lot of the hospitality sector's issues that we are facing, because these are all related issues. Even though the Indian cuisine, whether it's an Indian or a Chinese or going to your local steakhouse, food and cooking is the same thing. It's just finding the people who are passionate to do each individual cuisine. And I think what we want to do is cross borders, as in, I know a lot of people have said that Indian food should be cooked by somebody with an Indian origin, but we've had some very, very good success. Like Steve, he's very, very good at cooking Indian food, who's very much interested in coming into the industry. Sinead, who actually, with a little help from Raj, went into a competition where it was cooking Indian food, and she challenged some of these Indian chefs, and you'd be surprised, she actually won that competition. She came first in that competition, very close to one of the top Indian chefs who was involved in that competition. So it shows that if they have passion and dedication, it doesn't have to be somebody who's Indian to become a chef in an Indian restaurant. It could be people from cross borders. And we want to be able to help that happen, because even though we call the food here an Indian food, it is actually a British curry that we actually serve here. It's not what's found in India. And some would complain about that it's not original. But the history goes back a long time, how the spices came here and how it's been, adapted to every person's palate, and how it's changed. The ingredients and the methods have changed. So the methods of cooking have changed here because of two reasons. One is the modern way of cooking, and the modern technology we have in a kitchen, and also the way we like it here. I mean, even our own children prefer the food at the takeaway rather than what their mom cooks at home. So it shows that we are doing something very, very good.
I hope they don't tell her that. Oh, look, many congratulations. I think you've made great progress, and actually I'll be very excited to see how you move this forward, from this step forward. And it really is about, hopefully industry will come and start supporting your great works. So thank you for your time. Sorry, Shah, you're going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, for what we've actually done over the last year or so, with what limited support we have, I always tell Moslek, imagine what we could do if we actually had full support of the industry and the public behind us. We'd be achieving much bigger milestones than what we already have. So that's what we'll be planning to go for the going forward. Try and get more and more people on board, and open UK Curry Connect to everyone else.
Good. Well, you would certainly deserve it. So thank you for your time this afternoon, and that's been great.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.